Hey guys, we're going to talk about installing the Tour and Tour Pro on your boat today. So after you've opened the box of your Tour Pro, you're going to go ahead and remove the owner's manual bag, as well as the mount box, which contains the mount and the components to install the mount. Inside your owner's manual bag, you'll have the owner's manual itself, all new Katana prop, your prop nut and kit, your gas spring, remote with lanyard, a NEMA 2000 T-connector, zip ties and screws for a aftermarket trolling motor accessory on the lower unit, the mounting hardware kit. Inside of the pink bag, which is found inside the mount box, you'll find 2 cable routing clips, a bounce buster, a self-tapping screw for the bounce buster, a T40 Torx bit, and 2 mounting bolts for mounting the steering system onto the mount, as well as a tie-down strap. Now that we've got the components covered, we're going to take the mount out of the mount box and put it on an elevated surface such as a table or a tailgate or on the nose of the boat. In this case, we decided to use the table to make it easy. Once it's out, you're going to go ahead and remove this yellow latch spacer that's only used for shipping. You won't need it any longer. Put that aside, and then you're going to take the steering system out of the box as well. Put it on the table so that way you can install the mounting bolts. Out of your pink bag and your mount box, you're going to take your 2 1/4-inch Allen bolts and your 2 retaining washers out of their package. On the 360 steering system, you're going to insert from the top, and then you're going to take a retaining washer and you're going to place it on the bottom. So that way, if you ever have to service this in the field, you don't lose your bolts. Put that aside. Once we've got those bolts installed, then we're going to take our steering system and vertically place it on top of our mount, making sure not to pinch the stow and deploy cable as we lower it, making sure that's out of the way. Get the Allen bolts started just by finger tightening, and then we'll follow that up with the 1/4-inch Allen wrench or a ratchet set to get that going. Once they get tight on one side, then you'll flip over to the other side and make sure it gets tight, and then make sure you go back to the first one you started on to secure the mount and the steering system. Once we get the Allen bolts secured, we're going to go ahead and stow the motor in preparations for installing it on the boat. Once we've got the steering system onto the mount using the 1/4-inch Allen bolts, we're now going to take our tie-down strap out of our pink bag, which is in the mount box. We're going to lift up the bottom of the mount and we're going to snake using the Velcro side down. We're going to go ahead and snake the strap through, give us some slack, and we're going to snake it back down the other side. Pulling, giving ourselves some slack right about until where we've got it, where it's just going to come up. Once we're done, we'll check that we like the position by going ahead and testing it out and making sure the Velcro fully installs in order to protect your column. Before we put the motor back up on the boat, there are a couple mounting hole options. So we have an exposed 3-inch hole pattern down the center of the mount, which will fit all of our competitor models. So if you're switching from a competitor model to our model, or if you're mounting on a brand new boat, you can use the 3-inch hole pattern that's already exposed. If you're replacing a legacy MotorGuide product like an X5, that uses a 4-inch hole pattern, in which case you're going to need to remove the side plate using the T20 bit that's provided in the prop kit in the owner's manual bag. We recommend using a 1/4-inch socket and a 1/4-inch ratchet. Makes the job a lot easier. And there's 4 torque head screws that are located in the inside here that we'll have to remove in order to expose the 4-inch hole pattern, and then we'll replace it once we get it installed. And there, we've got all 4 screws out. It comes right off, and then we can set that to the side, and now we have our 4-inch hole pattern and our 3-inch hole pattern exposed, so that way when we put it on the surface of the boat, we can decide which hole pattern is the best for us. Once we've got the alignment that we want for the head and the bounce buster, and we're okay with that, now we want to make sure that we clear our front gunnel from any obstruction from stowing and deploying the motor. So we're going to go ahead and put our motor in the deployed position. So now that we've gotten the deployed position, we're going to make sure that we have a clearance that we're comfortable with on the front gunnel here. Once we have that, we also want to make sure that if this flexes, it's not going to touch the hull of the boat at all, from log strikes, rock strikes, anything that could chip your fiberglass or damage your aluminum. So I think we're pretty comfortable with that position right there. So now we're going to put it back into the stowed position. Now that we have it back in our stowed position and we have it where we want, we're going to go ahead and mark our holes. Depending if you have carpet or fiberglass, we're going to use a permanent marker, in which case we're going to mark our holes on our outside because we're replacing a MotorGuide X5, and then we're also going to have some on the inside to make sure we have a wide 4-inch hole pattern. You need a minimum of 4 mounting bolts to make sure it's secure, but we always recommend using 6 if you can get it into the boat based on the space that you have. Now we're going to drill using a 1/4-inch drill bit and then put the mounting bolts in. Now that we've got our holes drilled, we're going to grab our mounting hardware out of our prop bag and our owner's manual bag. Once we have that out, we'll have 4 mounting bolts, 4 washers, 4 nuts, and 4 rubber washers. So we're going to take the 4 rubber washers, we're going to place them over top of our holes that we just drilled to make sure that those are lined up. Now we're going to grab our motor, and we're using the 4-inch hole pattern, so we're going to have to make sure that we line up our outside and our inside. And we're going to go ahead and put the mounting bolts through. Now that we've got our mount bolts through, we're going to go ahead and take the washer and the lock nut, and we're going to go ahead and get up underneath our access port. Washer first, then nut. We're going to use a P3 screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver on the top, and a 7/16" wrench once we have it on there started. You don't want to use power tools in this situation because we want to prevent gulling of the stainless steel bolt to the stainless steel washer. All right, just like that, we've got the first one on. We're going to want to make sure that we tighten all 4 down to snug, and then we're going to visually inspect our mount to make sure that it's not twisted and that we're level. If you're twisted, you could hinder the performance of the stow and deploy and harm your mount. Now that we've got our mount bolts completely secure, we're going to go ahead and put our side plate back on if you've removed it to do the 4-inch hole pattern. We've got our 4 screws. We can get them started by hand. And then we'll finish it off with the T20 Torx bits that's provided in the box. Done. So now that we've got everything mounted up, we're going to go ahead and install our gas spring, which is located in our owner's manual bag or prop kit. So for that, we're going to go ahead and slightly deploy the trolling motor. And what you're going to do is there's both of these openings. The rod end will go down, and there's also a sticker to indicate the proper installation. You're going to start on the top. You're going to use your hand to roll it in, and you'll hear a snap. And then you'll align the bottom. There, second snap, and we're in, and now we've got our gas spring installed. We can stow the motor back down, and now we can install our prop. Grab the prop nut kit out of our prop kit or owner's manual bag. we will put the prop pin in first, followed by our prop. There's a groove inside of our katana here that we can get lined up. Now we're on top there. We can do our washer, and then we can do our nut. And this is a 9/16. We're on there pretty good. So once we have our gas spring installed and our prop installed, now if you have a tour trolling motor, at this point you'll just go ahead and put your trolling motor plug of choice on and decide how you want to mount your pedal. If you have a Tour Pro like we've installed here, there's going to be one more step after you power it up, which is syncing the remote, and then we're going to be ready for a day of fishing on the water. Now that we have our gas spring installed and our prop installed, we're going to put the motor in the deployed position, and we're going to go ahead and plug in the motor to power using our trolling motor plug. And then we're going to press the left and right arrows on our remote to sync the remote, holding it down for 5 seconds. We'll hear an audible beep to let us know it's synced. And now once we use a steer test, we know that we're synced up and we're ready for a great day on the water. I'm Sam Carlisle from MotorGuide. Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in to our YouTube channel, MotorGuide.com, and all our social media for the latest on all of our products.